Hello there, my pretties. This is Shadow the Line Queen, and today we are back with another kind of video. And today we're going to be doing top 5 most messed up South Park episodes. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, South Park has been around since the 90s. So most of you guys who probably remember, South Park, you probably remember that, South Park being a pretty good show. I mean, it's a really good, show. It does go, above and beyond really messed up stuff. So, I definitely do have to really say that these are kind of episodes that are, this is just my opinion on, messed up episodes. I mean, it does have its fair share of, messed up episodes and episodes that go really over beyond. So, that's definitely something I'm going to sit here and say. Is that this is actually something I was not going to, do, but at the same time, I'm definitely going to sit here and say is that this is a pretty interesting, kind of video that I'm going to be doing. So this is going to be basically about, pretty much really messed up, stuff that is been, in this. So I'm going to sit here and, talk about this episode, talk about this and basically, go ahead and, I'm not gonna explain the whole episode in detail, but I will explain, what's really messed up about the episode. But this is just my opinion on these episodes. So if you guys really have not seen this yet, then I will have to say, and I will warn you now, if you do not want me to reveal, messed up episodes or anything like that, please get off this video now if you, you know, if you can't, if you want to. Now, like I said, be, this may contain, some stuff that is NSFW, so if you don't want to hear any of this, then click off of this video, and watch another video of mine. So, I guess we'll get started with that. Now, this episode, Overlogging, is basically the 6th episode of season 12 of South Park. And this one came out in 2008, so it was like 17 years ago. And almost 18 years ago. So I definitely do have to say, this one definitely is very disturbing. So basically, for you guys who don't know, the citizens of South Park wake up to find that their internet is down. So Randy hears that there may still be internet out in California, so he and his family heads out west. So, this episode, seems to go on like every other South Park. But what basically made this a little messed up is the fact that, well, I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I'm basically going to, explain, what is disturbing, but I'll do it as the most ad-friendly way as possible. So basically, there is a scene in this one where Randy sneaks into the room where the internet is hidden, and he uses the internet to watch pornographic material. That's basically what he was watching. Most of it contained, fart fetishes. It involves, Japanese girls puking on each other, and it contains some zoophilia. That's mainly, what made this disturbing is that Randy, he gets onto it, and, he basically pleasures himself to those kind of things. And it's disturbing because, after, he does all that, he has his, pleasuring time, he ends up covering himself in, yeah, I'm not going to say it, but if you guys have seen this episode, then you probably know. So, yeah, Randy, I definitely do have to say is that what makes this episode messed up is the fact that, Randy does that. And it's really messed up because I know for a fact that,
South Park has added a lot of gross out humor and some really disgusting fetish stuff for humor in the past. So this one is definitely one that I definitely do have to say. It's pretty messed up. So, yeah, I definitely gotta say that it is really messed up. And when I first saw this, I was literally in shock that this episode has not been banned. As far as I know, it probably has not been banned, but like I said, it might have been banned, maybe in some countries, but this episode, I definitely do have to say it is disturbing because it involves Randy doing, some really, getting off to, really messed up, messed up pornographic stuff. So that's basically what it is. So, yeah, I mean, the end of the episode involves, Kyle pretty much unplugged the internet and replugs it back in, and then the internet gets fixed. So that's basically the episode pretty much ending. So, overlogging, I do have to say it is messed up because it does involve Randy doing something really, really messed up. But like I said, you should watch this episode if you want to know more context and, more into, this episode. If you guys want to, find something that is, yeah. That's literally all I can really say is that it is really messed up, but at the same time, I mean, I've seen messed up stuff before, but this one is definitely one of them. So yeah, I definitely do have to say is that, yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much the episode for, this episode. So yeah, I'm definitely going to sit here and say right now that it is messed up, yes, but it's definitely one that you could watch if you have not seen it. So, yeah, if you're sensitive to the stuff that I explained about what Randy looks up on, yeah, I recommend don't check out this episode if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff. So, anyways, let's get on with the next one. Mr. Garrison's fancy new you know what. I'm not going to say the you know what word, but for those of you guys who don't know, this is a first episode of season 9 of South Park that aired in 2009, so that was about 20 years ago. So basically, Mr. Garrison, pretty much wants to be a female, so he ends up, pretty much, he gets changed from male to female. And what makes it really messed up in that, what really makes it messed up that is pretty disturbing, I definitely do have to say, is that a lot of people, it had sparkled a lot of controversy that was found disturbing by some viewers of its graphic and detailed depiction of Mr. Garrison undergoing gender affirming surgery using real live action stock footage during the operation scene. So, yeah, I definitely do have to say it is messed up. I definitely do have to say, it is really messed up because I remember, you know, this episode. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of messed up that they showed, live footage of, you know, um, live footage, of, operation scenes. I mean, that's just really messed up. And I definitely do have to say, if you're sensitive to seeing graphic stuff like that, then yeah, you shouldn't, view this episode if you don't want to see it. But yeah, I mean, pretty much, you know, the episode just involves, Mr. Garrison, wanting to be a female. So that's basically what episode I'm referring to. So yeah, I definitely do have to say right now, it's definitely messed up. If you've not seen this one, then yeah. I mean, if you've not seen this one and you can handle stuff like that has been, explained that I just explained in the episode, feel free to, go check this out. But if you're sensitive to the kind of stuff that was mentioned in it, then I suggest you skip this episode. So, yeah. Let's get on with the next one. The Human Centipede. This one came out in for season 15 of South Park, which of course it's really definitely something because it's an episode of South Park. So basically, the episode involves pretty much it's pretty much the gross out concept, which parodies the horror film The Human Centipede. Now, if you guys have seen The Human Centipede, you probably know what I'm talking about. Basically, Kyle, after unknowingly agreeing to extensive terms and conditions of an iTunes update, he gets surgically joined mouth to butt by two others by Steve Jobs to create a human centipede. So that is mainly the episode. So I mean, yeah, I mean this episode came out in 2011, so that was about 14 years ago. Well, I personally found the one scene of this episode funny is where the subplot is Eric Cartman wants an iPad, but his mom can't afford it, so he basically has like a big meltdown at the Best Buy. It was so funny. Like Eric Cartman, has a meltdown over not being able to get the iPad that he wants. So yeah, I definitely do have to say, that part was pretty funny. I personally really thought that was funny, and I mean, a lot of people really have to say it's pretty funny. But the actual episode Human Centipede that involved, South Park, like um Kyle being a part of the Human Centipede, yeah, it's kind of messed up because, it's just as messed up and gross as the Human Centipede movie. So, yeah, I definitely do have to really say, that one scene with Eric Cartman and Best Buy, I have to say that one was really funny. I personally really do have to say is that is really, really funny. I personally really thought it was, very funny that part, oh the Best Buy scene. That scene I definitely do have to say was pretty funny. So I definitely gonna have to say that is definitely one of them. Of course, we do have, some other episodes that are really messed up, so let's get on with that. Cartman gets a yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but you guys probably can understand, what that means when I say that. So basically, this is an episode that came out in 1997. That was when South Park, was just getting started. So basically, it's the first episode of the debut episode of South Park, excluding the unaired pilot, which first spawned and it first aired on August of 13th of 1997. So basically, the plot involves the boys waiting for the school bus. Cartman explains the odd nightmare he had the previous night involving alien visitors. So basically, Cartman details his exposed dream of him being abducted by aliens. And yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but if you guys pretty much know this episode, then yeah, if you know, you know. So basically, it's just really messed up, for that. It's just like a really messed up episode that involves, Eric Cartman getting, abducted by, aliens, and yeah, that goes on. So, yeah, I definitely do have to say it is pretty messed up to be honest, but like like a, like I said, I have seen other episodes that are really messed up before, so yeah, there's definitely that. So, I definitely do have to say is that it's definitely one episode that, pretty much is pretty, messed up in of its own self. But, this pretty much introduces people on how messed up South Park's humor can be. So, yeah, that's basically something and I am definitely going to say about this episode. But yeah, I mean, I've seen other episodes that are messed up in South Park, but I mean, with that being said, I personally do have to say, this is definitely one story I definitely do have to say, that is pretty. I mean, I've seen it's messed up of its own self, but it definitely really adds up to, the whole, aspect of, you know, the concept, what Eric Artman goes on. So, yeah, I definitely do have to say it is really messed up, yes, but I definitely do have to really say that, I've seen other ones that are pretty messed up, but, this was definitely one that I definitely do have to say, yeah, I definitely do have to say if you're sensitive to this kind of stuff, then I suggest you do not check out this episode if you haven't. So do not check this one out if you're sensitive. But if you want to see, you know, but if you want to see this episode and you think you can handle it, you are more than welcome to sit there and do that. So, yeah. I guess with that being said, and with that being the case, I'm gonna sit here and just, go on with the one most disturbing episode of South Park. So I am going to sit there and, get started with this. Now, this episode, Cartman joins Nambala. Namba, Nambala. Namba. I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be wrong, but basically, this episode originally aired in the United States in 2000. So this episode is the fifth episode of the fourth season of South Park. So basically, Lee Cartman's in search of a more mature friends and accidentally joins North American Boy Love Association. So pretty much that's pretty much what's going on. So yeah, Cartman, pretty much the episode involves Cartman, and along with Kenny and Stan, and I mean, he's too mature to hang out with Stan, Kyle, and Kenny. Cartman looks up older male friends online chat full of eager men who want Cartman believes wants to be friends with him. They're actually pretty much internet predators who prey on young boys. So Cartman meets his one predator at Mel's buffet, who is quickly arrested for isolating, I'm not going to say it, but you guys could get the idea. So Cartman meets another predator who turns out to be Mr. Garrison, and he gets arrested as well. So Cartman does not understand why this keeps happening, that it concludes that Stan and Kyle are responsible for the arrest. So, yeah, this one basically involves PDF stuff. It pretty much involves, Cartman getting, together with, PDFs files. So, yeah. This episode is pretty disturbing because it involves, PDF stuff. PDF, yeah. I'm not gonna really say the whole word, but if you guys know this episode, then you know. I really don't recommend this episode if you've not seen it because it's really messed up, and if you're sensitive to that, yeah, it's best you do not view this episode. But I could definitely say is that it's definitely one episode that, pretty much you need to be careful on who you meet online because you can meet somebody who turns out to be a predator and you may not even know it. I mean, there's lots of predators on the internet, which is very scary. So this pretty much kind of, expresses, what can happen to people if they, decide to, hang out with someone not knowing that they're a PDF file. So, yeah, I definitely do have to say this is definitely one episode that, yeah, it's kind of messed up, to be honest. And if you've not seen it, then yeah, I mean, definitely do have to say if you do end up seeing it, it's really messed up. So that's definitely something I'm going to be brutally honest. But yeah, this episode is definitely a messed up one. But it's one of the most messed up ones because it deals with pedophilia stuff. So that's basically the plot of it. But I personally do have to say is that, Cartman needed to be more careful on the internet, but I guess he just doesn't seem to give a shit about, internet safety, and he just wanted to be friends with somebody older than him. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of why, I'm mostly, I'm decent when it comes to, being around minors, and I do have some minors, people who are minors on my Discord server, but at least I'm decent around them and I'm not doing stuff like Dan Sobel does. But yeah, if you guys have been on my channel for a while, you probably know who Dan Sobel is. But yeah, I did explain in a video on who Dan Sobel is. So if you've not seen that one, then I highly suggest you go watch that for more context. Well, personally to me, these are like the top 5 most disturbing, well, messed up episodes of South Park. But like I said, South Park has had worse episodes, but this is definitely one of them. These are definitely one of them that I can say, in my opinion, that are most disturbing. Now, like I'm gonna say, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these episodes, and this is just simply my own opinion. Now, anyways, I guess with that being said, what do you guys personally think of this of these episodes? Did you find them disturbing? Did you find other ones more disturbing than these ones? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm Shadow the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and if you're new to my channel, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys won't miss an upload. As always, go follow me on Blue Sky, follow me on Twitter, follow me on DeviantArt, and follow me on my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo, as links to all those will be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow me on there if you are happen to, be new. So, yeah. I guess with that being said, and that being the case, I'll be seeing you guys all in the next video, and as always, I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out, and like always, roll the outro, because I'm out.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.